Hello, hi, and welcome into the wisdom of the mystics. Hello, Reverend Kathy Mastroianni. How are you today?
I'm great, Laura Topper. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Welcome if you're joining from wherever on this amazing planet. We are here to shine the light on an incredibly powerful mystic today and a wonderful, wonderful super guest who is here and present with us to explain and to share and to educate us all on this powerful mystic that's coming into the energy field right now. I can feel it. So welcome. You're on New Thought Media Network. This is the platform. This is the ministry, the global ministry that is here and present, shining out so many broadcasts every single day for us to learn and get closer to that truth of love as who we are. So welcome to the network. And who do we have here today, Reverend Kathy?
Hi, well,
as our guest.
It's a great honor to introduce a beautiful soul who is a dear friend, mentor, and she's actually a volunteer and supporter of the Science Mind Archives and Library Foundation as well. She's senior minister at Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley, and she's also founder of Wedding Day Joys and author of this book, The Trio of Treasures, Embracing the Wisdom of the Tao. She has been writing and speaking and teaching Taoism for the last 2 decades or more, and she's helped thousands of people transform from feeling exhausted, burned out, and stuck to living successful, meaningful lives. And she's here in Denver, Colorado area with me. And so it's my great honor to welcome in Rev.Jody Stevenson.
Happy to be here. And
it's like,
and I have to
welcome.
My favorite subject. So thank you.
Oh, well, we're so excited to have you here, because I personally know your enthusiasm about this subject and you just light up, and it is truly has been so important in your life. And so we're excited to hear how you get to share with us. And so we get to learn more about who Lao Tzu was as a person, and you get to actually help me say that much better by the end of the show too.
You're doing
yes.
I've often said that it was Science of Mind that taught me how to think, and Taoism has taught me how to live.
Nice.
And so those two are I don't even think I'd be on this side without those two. So I'm forever grateful.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a lot to change. So
that's a powerful statement to open with. Science of Mind taught you how to think, and Taoism how to live.
Yeah.
And wow. So thank you for being here, for sharing this with us today.
I've been a religious science minister since 1987, and I started in 1983 in school. And the more I read Ernest Holmes and the more I read Ernest Holmes, you know how we all pick up a book and go, I've never read this before 27 times. And I hear Lao Tzu coming through Ernest Holmes all the time now that I understand and know each one a little better. And oh, please let me say, I
Wow.
am not a scholar on anything. I just am a lover of these two philosophies.
Oh, well, we're
Yes.
really happy and
Oh,
grateful to have you here. So, who was Lao Tzu as a person?
Well, Lao Tzu is quite mystically mythical and real. Um,
Wow.
so there's a wonderful story that when he was the head kind of librarian, if you will, at the Imperial King's Castle for years. And when he was about 80, he got really fed up with the greed of the people and the greed of the politicians. And he went, I'm going to go out to the desert to retire. So one day there's different images of him walking across the plaza, and another image is he's pulling his ox. Some put him on the ox, but nevertheless, he went to the Hangku Pass. It's called the Hangku Pass. And fortunately, oh my gosh, fortunately, the gatekeeper there knew who he was. And he went, oh, great master, would you, before you leave, write down your thoughts? I'll get you a cup of tea. I'm sure he said that because in China, that's what they do. And so Lao Tzu sat down. He used 5,000 characters and he wrote 81 verses, now called the Tao Te Ching. Um,
oh, yes.
this, yeah, yeah. And, yeah, you're right.
Good job.
And this is, some scholars say he wrote it with 5,000 characters that are no longer in use. And this is the second most popular book sold on the planet next to the Bible. So,
Wow.
yeah. So Lao Tzu, he was, some people say he was a recluse and he was, a hermit. Other people go, oh no, he loved humanity. He loved people. I just want to share. I love this. So he was alive when Confucius was alive. Confucius was much small, not smaller, younger, and they actually had opposite views. Lao Tzu would say, "Oh no, you are an individualized expression of the Tao," and Confucius said, "Oh no, you're part of a community, and you need to behave in the rules of the community." So one day, and Confucius was younger. So Lao Tzu had gone out to the desert. He had retired, and he was summoned one day by Confucius, and to come and talk to him. And he went, "I don't think so. If Confucius wants to talk to me, he can come see me." So Confucius did. They talked, and Confucius went back, and this is what he told his disciples. Birds fly, fishes swim, animals run. These things I know. Whatsoever runs can be trapped. Whatsoever swims can be caught in a net. Whatsoever flies can be brought down with an arrow. But a dragon riding the clouds into the heavens, that is quite beyond my comprehension. Today, I have seen Lao Tzu and I have met the dragon.
Wow.
So the dragon in China is
Yeah.
one of the most revered symbols of existence. I think of all the people I would want to go back into history and share a latte at Starbucks with. Lao Tzu would certainly be one of them. I would be intimidated as hell. I mean, I stood there like, "Oh my God, master!" But because I think he was very loving but very tough.
Right.
So, but there's not a lot written about him, and he would choose that. He would say, It's not about me. Listen to me because I'm right, but it's not about me."
Okay. So what was it at the age of 80? Would you say, Rev.Jody, that he had a spiritual awakening? Is that what happened, or was he just following his heart to to make a, to live a different way?
Yeah. I think there are souls that come into this planet, and we all know them to be avatars. I know Avatar is a movie, and now it's a concept for online, business and get your own avatar. I'm not quite sure what that means in the computer world, but the avatar from the spiritual sense is a soul that comes to the planet with only one desire, and that is to serve humanity. They don't want clothes, they don't want a home, they don't want a car, they just want to serve humanity. And I think certainly the Dalai Lama has become one. Gandhi definitely became an avatar. I don't think he started out that way. Mother Teresa. I'm not there. I love my home. I love my car. I love my clothes, my jewelry. But I think Lao Tzu was an avatar. He was very unencumbered and almost unimpressed, if you will, by what he called the land of 10,000 things, which is planet Earth, which cracks me up because, I have 10,000 things in my closet. But in his day, it was a symbol of planet Earth. So I think he came in, my sense is that he already was an avatar, and he came to uplift the consciousness of humanity. And I also get the feel he was detached but present, and he was just who he was. Yeah, no apologies, no, I should be different. No, this is the way I am, and this is my truth, and believe it or not, okay.
So was he like that before, to get to 80 and then make that shift or have those realizations? I wonder how he was prior to that in his life.
He was the head librarian in the king's palace, and I get a sense that he was also the sage, that he was the wisdom person that the king would go to, and that people would go to him. There's nothing about a family that I've read. I mean, there could be, but I don't think he had a family. I don't think he had a wife or children, he may have had 10. I don't know, but I've never read anything about that. It wasn't what he came here for.
Yeah. Not the earthly matters, the trappings.
Yeah, I think he was just detached. And given what he has written and how he lived his life, he was very authentic. One of the principles of Taoism is simplicity, and he led a very, very simple life. I would say almost monk-like. Very, very simple.
I love that he was the head librarian at the king's palace. How cool is that? I mean, talk about like a wisdom keeper and a sage, but to be surrounded by that wisdom in the library, I just think that's intriguing.
Yeah, it is.
It reminds me of somebody here that's on the call, Reverend Kathy Mastroianni, who's the Chief Executive Director of the Science of Mind Archives.
Yes.
Every now and then we get mail that's addressed to head librarian, and I just kind of chuckle. I just play one on TV. It's okay, It's just.
Well, in a way, you are. You really are the keeper of our history, and there's been wonderful teachers and sages along the way. I do believe we are each a sage. We just choose whether or not we're going to express it or not. We come in with this wisdom. We don't gather it. We awaken to it.
I love that. And I think that's what Lao Tzu teaches, right?
Yep.
So I would just love, you said you would love to take him to Starbucks, and I bet you would buy too, because you're really good at that. That's my personal experience.
You know what I do? I go to Starbucks and I say to the clerk, "Do you want a drink?" And they say yes, and then I have you buy it.
That works too. I wonder what would Lao Tzu order at Starbucks? What do you think he'd get?
A cup of tea. I go, Frappuccino.
There you go. Well, what would you ask him if you were sitting there with him? I mean, here you've studied him and
Oh,
taught
good
him for so
question.
many
Yeah.
years. What would you want to ask him?
Well, that's a really good question.
Mm.
I kind of it would be depending on how much I'd like to get beat up, I think, because he would say, I would say, so why would I struggle? And he would probably go, oh, Jody, you struggle because of one, you think you are your story, and
Wow.
that you have chaos and clamor in your life. And he really stressed that. So, one of the most important things that I've done in my life is to get my life in order. And I'm still doing it. I tend to get addicted to like any quote, any piece of paper, any story, anything. So I have piles, but I'm getting them all sorted out to stay in order because, someday I might need it. I mean, never mind, I could go online now and just type in, but he would say that nothing in the land of 10,000 things, nothing outside of us could be the source of our happiness. And he would, I think, charge me to get my thoughts in line, but also get my space in order, which I really have. I really am, I should say. I am. I'm still working on that. And he would also he would know that I love to talk about destiny. I've written a couple books on it. I wanted to share what I think some of his greatest. This is the back of a journal that I work with my students and clients. It's a 90-day gratitude journal. So on the back is a quote by Lao Tzu. I love this. Listen to this, you guys. If this isn't pure science of mind and Taoism, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's our
That's
teaching.
powerful. It's our teaching, yes.
Yeah, and now science, 2,500 years later, is saying, oh, yeah, we think about 70,000 thoughts in a given day. Research shows that 80% of those thoughts are negative. And research also shows, scientific research shows that 80% of those 80% that are negative are the same ones we had yesterday.
Yes.
So
Wow.
we are not watching our thoughts as
No.
as individuals and as as a culture, as a planet. The statistics of victim mentality is staggering, and Lao Tzu would go, "Stop it! That's not the truth. That is not the truth." So the other thing is, so he wrote 81 verses in the Tao Te Ching, and like I said, this is the second most popular book sold on the planet. And I'll get into what Taoism is in a minute. But in the 81 verses, scholars so Lao Tzu wrote this 2,500 years ago. Let me back up a little bit more. Taoism has been on the planet for about 4,500 years. Lao Tzu brought it to forth in this book. So in 81 verses, scholars over the 2,500 years since he wrote this have disagreed. Imagine that. However, they agree on one thing. In verse, wait a minute. In verse 25, listen to the word that he uses a couple of times. There is something that contains everything. Before heaven and earth, it is. Oh, it is still, unembodied, all on its own, unchanging, all pervading, ever moving. So it can act as the mother of all things. Not knowing the real name, we can only call it the way, which is what Tao means. If it must be named, let its name be great. Greatness means going on. Going on means going far. And going far means turning back. So they say the way is great. Heaven is great, earth is great, and humankind is great. 4 greatnesses in the world, and humanity is one of them. People follow earth, earth follows heaven, heaven follows the way, and the way follows what it is. So, what's the word that you heard a few times?
Well,
Great for
Great.
me.
Great. So, from what I've read and what I've studied and what I've listened to, and all scholars agree that he used the word great. So I actually have this in my bedroom. I have it framed. This is the first thing I wake up to. This is an affirmation that is Tao inspired. I come from greatness. I allow greatness, and I am greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Lao Tzu would say, why do you play small? Stop it. Why do you play small? So when people say to me, like the clerks out in the stores and whatnot, they go, well, how are you today, ma'am? I go, oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. But sometimes I'm not doing great. So a couple of years ago, one of my sons was going through a really difficult time, and I was worried, and my mom's heart was sullen and sad, but I had to go to the bank. So I go to the bank, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be happy when I walk into that bank. And so I walk in, I walk up to my favorite teller, and he said, Jody, how are you doing today? And I went, I'm on my way to greatness. I'm on my way to greatness. He looked at me and went, oh God, you're really having a bad day. I went, I am. So, but when you can just even admit, I'm on my way to greatness. Not so good right now, but I'm on my way to greatness. Because I always think of this wonderful being that used the word great.
And also the way too. I mean, the way to greatness. He also talked about the way in that.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole Tao Te Ching is about how to live in greatness.
Nice. Cool. And Laura, what was
I'm interested. Just kind of what's ruminating in here is that for me, it feels as if he was not giving up. That's the wrong word. Surrendering, living this simple life, knowing that the stuff, accumulation of stuff isn't the way, if you like, or the answer to happiness. And so when he says, be great, is he teaching to know the truth of who we are without having to identify ourselves with the outer world, going into that place, knowing the divinity that is here within? That is the greatness, not the ego or a false kind of sense of confidence.
Yeah, well, he would say use the ego correctly. So when a person needs to be noticed, if you will. So if this is our center point, and Taoism speaks a lot to the center point. And if we go away from, and it's okay if we live out here, but if we go out here, then, and the further we get from our center, we get into our addictions and our compulsions. And I come from the world of addictions and compulsions. And then when we get way out, way out, then we move into greed and war and discrimination and way out here. So the whole basis of Taoism is to live in harmony. Harmony is the key word for Taoism. How do we do that? First of all, let me tell you.
How do we do that?
Yeah, how do we do that? Let me just tell you a little bit about Taoism, if I may, and then I'll get into what it teaches. It is a rich and multifaceted approach to life. It is not a religion, and it is really not a philosophy. It is an exploration into the existence of nature.
Right. Could you repeat that last piece? It's an
yes, I think I can. What did I just say? It is an exploration.
It's an exploration.
Yeah, it's an exploration into the nature of existence. And that's why religious leaders, politicians, doctors, ministers, all walks of life have studied the Tao Te Ching, because it is not about a certain way of being. It's really unencumbered by the message of sin. It's unencumbered by right and wrong, good and bad. It's one of the major religions in China: Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism. It is not the largest, but I will say Taoism is taking off around the world. It is really an exploration into the nature of existence, and it's considered to be the most valuable way, and I'm going to say the most valuable way, of achieving a harmonious life, which means we live in harmony with ourselves. We work with the Tao. Wherever we are, the Tao is everywhere. So one of the things that has really pushed some of my colleagues, but I'll say it here, according to Lao Tzu, according to Taoism, the Tao existed before God.
Wow.
Ooh.
Nice. That's cool.
Okay.
Wow. How'd that happen?
Okay.
So the wisdom of the Tao. So first of all, the Tao stands for the way. And Te, oh boy, there's so many different
interpretations.
Interpretations. It's so interesting. I like Te being, it's the reflection of our character, if you will. It's our virtue. And then the Ching is the book of the way.
Okay.
How do we live
a
joyful and peaceful mind? So over 5,000 years ago, the saints and sages used to say that a human being only has two desires. And I so believe that's true today. Kathy, you've heard me talk about this, that my whole work is based on this. It has been for 30 some years. And the two desires is a peaceful mind and a joyful heart. Taoism tells us how to do that. Now, I've been studying Taoism for probably 15, almost 20 years now, and I still have an unpeaceful, unjoyful heart, unpeaceful mind, but I don't stay there very long. I come right back.
Right.
So one of the things that Taoism asks us to do is to stop believing our thoughts.
Yes.
Is to go out of our minds with our minds.
Nice.
When we do that, life becomes effortless.
And that's really powerful, because our thoughts we're creating a story constantly with what we're thinking. We're putting a slant on it. We're putting a perspective on it constantly.
Constantly. According to Taoism, when one is confused or when one is attached to their belief or story, they are suffering. So I love doing this, although it's like the quickest conversation I could have with anybody. People will go, so how are you doing? What are you up to now? And I go, oh God, I'm living such a balanced, harmonious life. I'm learning how to use my yin and my yang and go back and forth. And they go, well, yeah, but I mean, like, how are you doing? I go, well, the newest thing the most exciting thing that's happened to me, I did this the other day, is we have a new fan in our living room. And I don't have a story. I mean, I could. Oh, trust me, I know how to do story.
Yeah, she does.
But my story is, I don't want to do that anymore. So now I'm getting the guidance to talk about this. This is part of Taoism, but it's also an understanding that comes from the 12-step program, which is based on infinite wisdom, mind. So there are 3 things that block the sunshine of God. The first one is arrogance. And I think that Lao Tzu really tapped into Confucius's arrogance, which is why he was like, whoa, I met the dragon today. And arrogance is when a person, I see this all the time in my, especially couples counseling office, people will go, well, you're the problem, not me. I'm not adding to this. And not only that, I have the answers. And I love watching this in my office. The second thing that blocks the sunshine of a peaceful mind, joyful heart, i.e. the Tao, is the love of calamity, drama, trauma, and chaos. And that I come from a family that loved drama, trauma, and chaos. So that's something I work on every day. And then the third thing is materialism. And it's not that we aren't supposed to be wealthy and have beautiful things, but we can never say, this is the source of my happiness. Anything out in the land of 20,000 things, nothing can be the source of my happiness. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So he's teaching, so that's the harmony. That's the harmony that he's teaching, is to harmonize our yearning, our inner yearning, to make the outer the story, or whatever,
yes.
The story, the source of our happiness. So we're harmonizing back within ourselves, being more aware of how we're creating that disharmony in our lives.
And stop believing our stories. And that's basic science.
Yeah.
If you don't like your condition, change the story. So the one thing about Taoism, which has helped me so much, because I can be, as Kathy knows, I can be go, 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 go. And sometimes I get really tired because I've been going. And Taoism teaches the symbol of Taoism is the yin and the yang. You all see this? I know it's pretty much everywhere. So this symbol reminds us that if we want to live in harmony, we want to be a balance of yin energy, which is feminine energy. It's the dark, quiet, creative, reclusive energy. And then the yang energy is we get up in the morning and go, ta-da, world, here I am. And in our culture, the yang energy is so dominant, which is why we are experiencing such traumatic, individualized, and culturally some pretty serious diseases. We're in our yang or yang energy. And that's what I talked about this during COVID. I didn't think it was all that bad. And everyone was like, oh my God, are you not saying? No, it stopped us. We needed to just go and
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes is a Spanish proverb that says, how beautiful it is to do nothing and then rest afterwards. So that's the yin energy.
Oh,
isn't that wonderful? I even have a piece
beautiful.
of art. I have a piece of art in my office. How beautiful it is to do nothing and then rest afterwards. We are, as a culture and as individuals, we are way too young. I'm coming, my Midwest twang is coming through. It's young. And what we want is more yin energy.
Right, to bring us into harmony.
Right.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, well, what a powerful teaching, that we can use in our daily lives.
Oh, I mean, there are times when I've made commitments and I go, I am now way out of my center. I need to recommit. I need to call these people and go, I can't meet with you. I need to, and they'll go, well, why? Are you okay? And I go, no, I need to go hug a tree. I need to go take a bath. I need to, go kiss my little dog and call it good. And then I need to rest after I do that.
Right.
So I can really, I still have a very strong addictive go. And it's, I'm slowing down. I'm 72. I'm slowing down, but still.
Oh, wow. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So and I'm just really interested also in the idea of, not the idea, but this of suffering, how Lao Tzu talks about suffering and what his teaching is on that, and how we can release ourselves from that bondage.
Yeah, that's a great question, sweetie. The first thing is, where are you out of harmony with yourself? So are you overdoing? Are you underdoing? If you're overdoing, then you need to stop and do nothing. If you're underdoing, you're just sitting on the couch watching soap operas, eating bonbons, you need to get productive. And there's a dance between the two. And we are each here to be individualized expressions to serve humanity and to uplift the consciousness of humanity in our own certain way, however we do that. No one can do it like you. And we are here to listen and then move forward on that. So to find harmony, we have to do that. Another thing he would say is you got to have your life in order. You've got to have your environment in order. And you have to love your environment. Sometimes I'll walk into people's homes and I go, oh, do you love living here? And they go, oh, no, not at all. Ugh. That happened the other day. And I went, okay, that's where you start. Make sure that your personal life is in order. And again, I am still working on that. We have to redo our will, and there's things I keep putting off, and I got to go do them because they become energy drains if we don't.
Right.
Okay. And then stop believing your mind. Stop your stories. I once worked with a counselor. He was a Jungian therapist, and it was at a really dark time in my life. I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I can go on. And he helped me transform my shame into respect, because the opposite of shame is respect. And he taught me how to think and act respectfully towards myself. It was so powerful. But he used to say, when you're in the middle of saying something that is not authentically you, you stop mid-sentence and go, I'm not going to finish this story. I'm not going to finish this story.
Right.
And in my early years when I was practicing this, oh my God, I can't tell you how often I was doing that. But I'm not, this is not the truth of me anymore. So.
Yeah, wow, that's practicing awareness in the now. Really in the now, to stop yourself from a sentence.
one thing about that practice, it is devastating to the ego, but it is delicious to the soul. And when I made the commitment to my soul, I thought, I'm going to do whatever it takes, because I don't want that craziness anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want that craziness anymore that I am creating. And I didn't even know what I was doing, because I loved calamity, drama, trauma, and chaos. Coming from an alcoholic drug family, you know, I know how to do that. But I also, and Lao Tzu talked a lot about this, that you have to be authentic. You have to be authentic. And because if you are not authentic, you will get to the end of your life, because we all get to the end of our life at some point. And hospice research tells us that 90% of humanity gets to the end of their life and they regret it. They regret the life they're living. So you have to be authentic, but you also have to watch your thoughts, and because they become your destiny.
Yeah.
No, that's powerful. And like you were saying with the hospice work, to come to the end of our lives, I mean, we want to feel peace. We want to feel like we've come to the place where we've made a positive impact on the world and our lives.
Right.
And to be authentic.
And, you know, as a minister, I've sat at many a bedside as people are taking their last breath. And I have come to believe that people die the way they live their life. I mean, why would it be different? It's the same. So people who are in constant chaos and confusion, there's all kinds of, the nurses are trying to get things done and they can't, and the doctor, I mean, there's so much confusion. People who found their peace and their joy and are really proud of what they've done, it's really peaceful and beautiful and mystical.
Wow.
It's really cool. And people who have been angry and they're pissy, they're angry and they're pissy as they're taking their last breath.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Why wouldn't it be? Because we're living who we are.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had a question about his age and how I'm intrigued. How do we know how old he was when he transitioned? Is he still alive?
Well, yeah, I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
You know, some of these ages come back, and 2,000 years later, I'm sure he come back. But I also know that he would think that from the spirit world he could help more people. So I don't know how long he lived. There's like nothing that I have found. I don't know. But I know he was 80 when he left the community, and he said, y'all, you're not following the Tao.
Okay. Was he practicing Buddhism?
No, Buddhism is younger than Taoism.
It's younger, isn't it? Yes. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
So he was. So Taoism, Confucianism were prior to Buddhism. So that would have influenced Buddhism. He would have been a major influence for Buddhism.
Yeah. And so planet Earth, within like 500 years of each other. In China, Taoism was emerging. In India, Hinduism was emerging. In Greece, Socrates and his people were talking about the individual freedom. And then Christianity came along about 500 years later.
Yeah.
Prior to all of that, were the yogis and the shamans and Taoism is very much based on the ancient shamanic beliefs. And in fact, a Taoist, the early Taoists wanted to live forever because they thought it would take forever to get to know God. So they created so many of the things that we use today that we don't even know it came from ancient wisdom through Taoism. Acupuncture, acupressure, qigong. I mean, there were so many
Shiatsu.
shiatsu and acupressure, the needles, acupuncture. Yeah,
Acupuncture.
and eating well. So in Taoism, there are no rules. Like you can't have ice cream on Friday, or you can't eat pork, or you can't. Taoism would say, eat in moderation, and eat healthily, because health was so important to the early Taoists. And yeah, I mean, we need to take care of our bodies.
That's really interesting, because acupuncture is a preventative rather than a
Very
cure.
much. Very much.
We have acupuncture. You can have acupuncture our whole lives and really improve our health and vitality.
Yeah, absolutely. And they really brought forth a study, and I think this comes from more of the shamanic part of life, but the use of herbs and different flowers and herbal essences. I mean, they really were the people that brought it all forth.
Yeah.
The early Taoists. And being with nature is incredibly important to the Taoist, because according to Taoism, according to science mind, according to the truth, we're all one. So, I went by a whole group of dandelions the other day, and some people go, "Oh my God, get rid of them." I go, "Oh, you're so cute." Yogananda used to say, flowers are little angels that kiss the earth. I love that. Whenever I see a dandelion or the weeds are a little bit harder in my patio, but we're all one. So let's help each other out, whether we're a plant that has a medicinal quality or not.
Well, that could be why when we're in nature, we feel that oneness. You feel that connection to the one.
I know. And that's one thing I love living here in Colorado, because it's when I was a little girl being raised in Minnesota, I used to say, someday I'm going to live in the Rockies. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to live in the Rockies. And I just feel like it's my soul land. I'm in the suburbs. Kathy's in
I'm in the mountains. It's true.
And I'm right next to the sea.
Oh, how beautiful is that? Well, I think we just need to visit each other and talk the Tao.
I'm closer to Starbucks than you are. The other thing I want to say,
I just wanted to recognize Rao's here, watching us, and for anybody that is watching right now, welcome. We're here with Rev.Jody Stevenson and Kathy Mastroianni, and I'm Laura, talking about Lao Tzu. So welcome here to Wisdom of the Mystics.
So,
Rev.Jody.
Of other things, and how much time do we have? A little bit more time. Lao Tzu and also Taoism speaks, the main character in Taoism is the master. And the master is those of us who are human beings. And they interchanged the pronouns of he and she. And they often used she more than he, but they go back and forth. And in the Tao Te Ching, it goes back and forth. And I am like, yes, yay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the only religion or focus that I know of that does that. That doesn't mean there aren't a lot.
Is that because of the yin, the yang, and the symbol?
Yes. Yeah. He really honored
the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah. I mean, in order to live in harmony, you need both. You need a she and a he, not physical sexual bodies, but the energy of masculine and feminine.
Nice.
Yeah. And I like that. It's a good reminder.
Well, it's that balance and harmony and
Yes.
that, throughout. And even Ernest Holmes, in the 1926 version of the textbook, he talks about male and female energies, and he says the most healthy soul is who's most balanced with the male and female energies. And so Dr. Holmes echoes that, as you said. So there's just so many similarities with science of mind.
Well, I think Ernest Holmes really embraced Lao Tzu's work. I see him quote him, and sometimes without a reference, but I go, oh, I know where you got that, And science of mind is based on ancient wisdom.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's just so familiar.
Yes.
So yeah, the whole harmony focus is the dance between the two, but also embracing that the two sides are in the Western mind, they're against each other. But in the Eastern mind, they work with each other and they dance with each other.
Right.
And they need each other. They're not opposites. They're one.
Right.
Like, you can't have, I love this symbol. You can't have, or this vision, you can't have a hill with sunshine on, shining on one side of the hill without shadow on the other side.
Right.
Think about that. It's everywhere.
So that's the symbol again with the two dots either side that represent.
The dark is the feminine, and the light is the masculine. But don't you love how in the masculine there's the dot of the feminine, and in the feminine there's the dot of the masculine. I mean, this symbol is so
I love
beautiful.
it.
I love this symbol. I love it. I suppose if I were ever to get another tattoo, which I'm not, I would do this. A totally different story.
I love it.
I was going to say,
yes,
for a late night version of Wisdom of the Mystics, we could go there. Sorry.
So I have here a little bit something that Lao Tzu wrote about the yin and the yang. He said, too much yin, we experience stagnation, leading dull, monotonous lives like a gray movie. Well, he didn't say that. I wrote that, but that's right. Too much yang, active, outspoken, focused only on our goals, and hurtful to others. He writes, the promise of balance is harmony. Under heaven, all can see beauty, only because there is ugliness. All can know good as good only because there is evil. Having and not having produce one another. Difficult and easy balance each other. Long and short complete with one another. High and low rely on each other. Pitch and tone make harmony together. Beginning and ending follow each other. So the sage lives openly with apparent duality and paradoxical unity. The sage can act without effort and teach without words. When the work is done, it is forgotten. That is why it lasts forever.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
That is so amazing. That was just, as you were reading that, I was just feeling into, well, we have the conditions. We don't put our focus on those conditions of our lives.
Yeah. Because
we need the light and the dark, and we need what we think is not good and the good, and it's all one.
Science of mind is it has been criticized probably for 100 years that we're kind of only focused on the positive, and in a way that's how I was trained in the 80s, but I don't believe that anymore. I think it's important to stay in our struggles and in the feelings of our sorrow, and not new age our thoughts out of it, but let it come out. I really have changed in so many ways my counseling practice, and it's much more honoring to the person. It's like, it's okay. Now, if
Yes.
you come to me in 27 years and you're saying the same thing, we have a problem. But if you're in
Yes.
it, be in it. It's okay. It's okay. It's good. Be in your sorrow.
Yes.
We all have it. Be in your joy. We all have it.
But don't get attached to the
Yes.
story.
Beautiful.
Not get attached to the story because it becomes your destiny.
Right.
And again, if that's what you want, then go for it. But who wants that? But be in
Right.
sorrow. Do not leave it. Don't let go of anger too fast. Don't let go of sadness too fast. Yeah. Live in harmony.
Thank you for saying that, because we don't often hear that in our philosophy. Don't let go of those feelings too fast. Thank you so much for saying that, Reverend Jody.
You're welcome.
I feel we as a
I really stress
yeah,
it. It comes from my understanding of Taoism. One of my favorite quotes of Lao Tzu is, nature never hurries, but everything gets done. So we don't want to hurry out of anywhere where we are. Just be in it and then move forward.
Just allow. Yeah. Don't resist it. We're allowing. Just kind of like the waves in the ocean.
Right.
With our feelings, we can just allow.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when we resist, we're not in harmony, but if we go with it, if we go with the feelings and stuff, we can be more in that harmony, and allow nature to flow, whatever that is.
We're not naturally depressed, miserable people. That's not our nature. And it's important to remember that. When I was the senior associate minister and the dean of the ministry school at Mary Morrissey's church in the Living Enrichment Center in the early 90s. And we had about, 12 to 1,500 people on a Sunday. I was walking downstairs one day and to go to the sanctuary, because I always stood in back so Mary could, see that I was there if she needed anything. And this woman was sobbing in the lobby, sobbing. And I went over and I said, are you okay? Can I help you? I won't quote her, but she said, that blah, 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 left me 23 years ago. Mm. Or she started out by saying, my husband has left me, he has a new girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And I said, when did this happen? She said, 23 years ago. I said, ma'am, you are the one with the problem, not your husband. Because when we hang on to that story that long, we are the problem. But stay in it until it moves out of you.
Yes.
Well, that's beautiful. And that could be a nice segue into what you do. You have this incredible weddingdayjoys.org website, and you have amazing ways that people can live happily ever after. You teach officiants like me, how to officiate weddings, and it's such an amazing class. But she also has premarital counseling classes that are all automated, so you can get them worldwide on her website.
Yeah, after officiating over 1,000 weddings and working with people, couples, over 1,000 couples, I have a few opinions on how to do it. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I love that you're bringing together two people in officiating weddings. It's kind of, you're bringing the yin, the yang.
That's true.
Same
we
thing.
have fun in our classes, don't we, Kathy? We have fun.
We absolutely do have totally fun. And you bring in all your wisdom of the mystics. And so we're really grateful that you could join us today on our show.
Yes.
We talk way too much. I could talk about this forever.
Oh,
I love it.
I could too. I could feel the depth of it. I wanted to ask deeper questions, and but I know that you're doing this and you're teaching it in your ministering and at Boulder Valley as well. I'm sure you have classes and all sorts of ways that people can reconnect with you. So to find you, is Wedding Day Joys the best place, or through your center? If someone wants to reach out to you, both.
Jody
Okay.
at weddingdayjoys. Actually, it's weddingdayjoys.com. It's not org, but
there
it
you
is
go.
.com. Okay.
CSL.org. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my Wedding Day Joys is not a nonprofit. It's my business. So it's .com, but also CSLBV.org.
Is it BV or?
Yeah, Boulder Valley. No, Boulder Valley. No,
okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have dueling banners out here.
Fantastic.
So there's your .com for that. And then
There you go.
CSLBoulderValley.org for all the different classes that they teach there, and to catch Reverend Jody's services. They're so powerful and inspiring and uplifting. I highly recommend.
We're starting a new one on Sunday morning called Mystic Moments, and it's only 15 minutes. It's a Sunday morning service. And it's fun.
Wonderful.
It's fun.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Reverend Jody. It's been an absolute joy and inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so wonderful. I send much love to you both. As I say,
we'll stay.
Tao big. There's nothing bigger than the Tao.
Nice.
Enjoy, you guys.
Oh, that's amazing. Right. Thank you. We'll stay on for a moment because we're going to close the show now. And thank you for watching and being here with Reverend Jody Stevenson. You're on New Thought Media Network, this great global focus ministry. There we go, got the words out. We have a website, and you can be part of the process. If this has touched you and nourished you, and you feel to give your love offering to the ministry, then please do go to the website and check us out, and there is a donate button there. So thank you all for joining. And Reverend Kathy is also, if you have a few words you want to say here, Reverend Kathy.
Yep. And the Science of Mind Archives is a place where we're putting these Wisdom of the Mystic shows, but we keep adding more and more resources. We really want to support people's spiritual evolution and connection with our source of Dr. Ernest Holmes and the incredible mystics of shoulders that we stand upon. Oh, that was good. All right. Well, blessings. We'll see everyone next time.
Thanks for doing
next time. Thank you, Reverend Jody.
Yeah.